You'd think that on Veterans Day, the one day we all come together to honor the men and women who served our country, people could set aside their petty nonsense. But not my neighbor Karen. While veterans, neighbors, and even a local news crew stood in my front yard to watch the flag rise, she stormed in, screaming that my flagpole was illegal and had to come down immediately. What she didn't realize was that she wasn't just interrupting a ceremony, she was disrespecting every veteran there, including me. I'm a retired Army sergeant. After serving for over 2 decades, I moved into a quiet suburban neighborhood thinking I'd finally found peace. The HOA here was strict, but I'd read the rules carefully. I knew exactly what I could and couldn't do. When I installed a flagpole in my front yard, I followed every regulation, height limit, placement, even the specific kind of foundation they required. For me, that flag wasn't just decoration. It was a symbol of the men and women I served with, some of whom didn't make it home. In the weeks leading up to Veterans Day, I sent invitations to my old unit buddies, local veterans, and even the high school's ROTC program. We planned a small but meaningful flag-raising ceremony, complete with the national anthem and a moment of silence. Local news heard about it and said they'd send a crew. It was going to be perfect. But there was one person who didn't like it. Karen. She lived 2 houses down and had the kind of personality that could turn a sunny day into a thunderstorm. If your grass was a half-inch too tall, she'd call the HOA. If your Christmas lights weren't down by January 2nd, she'd report you. And apparently, she hated flagpoles. A week before Veterans Day, I got an email from the HOA saying my flagpole may be in violation, because it was distracting to the neighborhood's aesthetic. I replied with the regulation section showing my flagpole was completely allowed. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The morning of Veterans Day arrived crisp and clear. The sun was just starting to rise, casting golden light over the neighborhood. I could hear my old unit buddy, Mike, tuning his bugle for the ceremonial taps. Kids from the ROTC were lining up in uniform, holding small flags. Neighbors gathered quietly, some holding coffee cups, others with their hands over their hearts. Even the news crew was setting up tripods and testing their mics. As the clock struck 9, I stepped forward to say a few words. "This flag is not just fabric," I began. "It's a story of sacrifice, of courage, of—" That's when I heard it. The sound of rapid, angry footsteps. Karen. She marched right into the middle of the crowd, waving a clipboard like it was a weapon. "This flagpole is not authorized," she shouted. The crowd turned. The news camera swiveled toward her. Mike stopped playing his bugle mid-note. I kept my composure. "Karen, this is a Veterans Day ceremony. Please step aside." "No," she barked. "You're in violation of HOA rules, and I have the paperwork right here. You need to take this flagpole down. Now." Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the veterans in attendance muttered, "Is she serious?" Karen wasn't just serious, she was relentless. "You can't raise that flag until the pole is removed," she demanded, standing directly between me and the flag. Now I could have argued. I could have yelled. But I knew something Karen didn't. Last year, the state had passed a law protecting homeowners' rights to display the U.S. flag, overriding any HOA restrictions, as long as the flag was displayed respectfully. And I had every legal right to have that pole there. So I smiled. "Karen," I said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "I appreciate your concern. But this ceremony is protected by law. And so is my flag." Her face turned bright red. She stammered, "Well, the HOA board will hear about this." I glanced toward the news crew and gestured for them to keep rolling. "They'll be hearing about it along with the rest of the state," I said. The crowd chuckled. Karen, realizing she was on camera, tried to backpedal. "I'm just saying, rules are rules," she insisted. One of the veterans stepped forward, a Marine with a chest full of medals. "Ma'am, the only rules we follow today are respect and honor." The entire crowd applauded. Karen froze. She wasn't used to people standing up to her, especially not in public, and certainly not with a camera broadcasting every second. I turned back to the flag. Now, where were we? Mike lifted his bugle again. The ROTC kids saluted. And slowly, the flag began to rise against the clear blue sky. As it reached the top, the wind caught it, making it ripple and shine in the sunlight. The national anthem played, and people sang quietly, some with tears in their eyes. Karen stood off to the side, arms crossed, looking like she wanted to sink into the pavement. When the ceremony ended, the news reporter pulled me aside for an interview. What was going through your mind when your neighbor tried to stop the ceremony? I looked straight into the camera. That flag represents the freedom for people to speak their mind, even if it's to make a fool of themselves. But it also represents the freedom to stand up and say, "Not today." Later that afternoon, the news segment aired. The clip of Karen barging in went viral almost instantly. The comments section lit up with people calling her the most unpatriotic HOA Karen in America. Veterans from all over the country reached out to thank me for not backing down. The HOA even issued a public statement acknowledging my flagpole was fully compliant. And just like that, Karen's crusade collapsed. The following week, she tried to avoid me, ducking behind her curtains whenever I walked by. But the truth is, I didn't hold a grudge. I even invited her to the next year's ceremony. She didn't show, but she also didn't try to stop it. Sometimes standing your ground isn't about winning an argument. It's about showing people that some things, like honor, respect, and the flag we fought under, are worth defending, no matter who tries to tear them down.